Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so welcome to my session. So one of the main constraints of doing a research is to develop a research instrument with the validity and reliability principle in technical test. Test is a measurement instrument. Okay, referring to any instrument, any psychological instrument, they call it test. Is an instrument that consists of a sample of behavior, and you obtain it under standardized condition and evaluated using established scoring rules, psychometrician. So psychometric properties is what we expect the evidence from the instrument that should be addressed in the research. Validity is the extent to which a concept or a construct or a conclusion or a measurement is well-founded and likely correspond accurately to the real world. You browse and you find an instrument about intelligence. So in the instrument, all the items must measure intelligence, not a mathematical thinking. What are the types of validity that we are talking about? There are content-related validity. We have the criterion-related validity. Yeah. So content validity is a must. It's a must. Validity, normally we go for expert review. Yeah. The process is through the expert review. So from this expert review, we calculate the index, which is called, can be Kohen Kappa index or Fries Kappa index or content validity index. Construct validity. Normally face validity comes under content validity, content related validity. Normally when you read a thesis, they will omit the face validity because the face validity is embedded in the content validity. Does the test appear to test what it aims to test? This construct validity is to establish whether your item is really measuring the concept. For reliability, you have to prove that your instrument gives consistent result. So the consistency of research study is partly due to you have a reliable instrument. And it can prove the proof that of the reliability of an instrument is through the correlation coefficient, which is we call it R, small r, italic small r, that shows the correlation coefficient. And if you have a positive, that means you have a high positive correlation. Okay, now we also have types of reliability. Internal, external. For internal, we can do alpha Cronbach. Yeah, you can do this through whether you use SPSS, internal, alpha Cronbach Alpha. It shows about the reliability, the consistency of the item measuring the same construct. Yeah, and another one is split half method. Okay, this one can be done though, but this one is I think for the other field you just prove that from the internal reliability with the alpha Cronbach. And for the split half, that means if the instrument consists of 40 items, we split for the odd and even numbers of item, and then we correlate whether it is correlated positively or not, right? And then we have also external reliability weighing, which is, we call it test retest. This is over time. Let's say just now I was mentioning about test retest also. You give at one point and you give at another point, that is called test retest, to make sure the score are really consistent from point 1 to point 2. And the other one is inter-rater, the degree to which different raters give consistent estimate of the same behavior. Okay. The Kohen Kappa or Fliss Kappa or content validity index is actually validity proof, but it happens in the inter-rater for reliability. You want to prove the content is valid, okay? You give to the two rater. For Kohen Kappa, you need two rater. Yeah. For Fliss Kappa, you use Fliss Kappa formula when your rater is more than 2. Okay. When you give to expert review, rater 1, rater 2, you try to prove the content is valid with high validity through the inter-rater reliability. That's why I put this one, this is a proof of content validity, but you use the inter-rater method from the reliability. So your Kohen Kappa actually shows about the content validity. But how do you do it? You do it through reliability method, which is we call as inter-rater, or another one is intra-rater. Intra-rater means the rater is 1, but you give at different point. So point 1 and point 2. Then you correlate the score, whether the score is highly correlated or not. Opportunity to explain about Kohen Kappa. This is very simple content validity method whereby I assume most of you already heard about this, and some of you might try to calculate the Kohen Kappa. I get this Kohen Kappa free calculator, data collection instrument, and where to begin? Where to begin? And some of you wants to develop your own instrument. Okay, this diagram shows you the step, the flow of developing and validating the instrument. Yeah, you have to start off with concept and transform to construct, and then you have to ask whether it is a unidimensional construct or multiple dimensional construct. Then what is conceptualization? The act or process of forming an idea or principle in your mind. In your mind. That's why supervisors get angry when you ask them to do the conceptualization for you. It's you, the researcher, who should conceptualize the concept. To interpret conceptually, this is from the dictionary. All this from dictionary. The meaning of conceptualization is the process by which researchers define what they are attempting to study as precisely as possible. But when you start conceptualize, you start searching for the meaning from general means, it is from dictionary, as well as by academic means, which will give you the conceptual definition which you have to address in the background of study in the definition of terms. For a conclusion of the process, the flow, you see, I think most of the students got stuck here. The background of study, the problem statement, and how to prove the research gap in your background of study. We cannot see the research gap. A lot of the proposal defense session because the examiner cannot identify easily what is the research gap. Why you want to study about this concept. But when you say, oh, I want to develop my own instrument, actually, it helps you to tackle the issue from chapter 1. Chapter 1 is very, very critical chapter. You have to make examiner convinced about what you want to do. Yeah, okay. And later on, start with instrumentation. So with this flow, I think half of the process of doing research resolved and very clear. Nearly finished. Characteristic of good items. Please write items clearly, concisely, based on your understanding of the phases that you follow just now. Avoid double negative. Avoid double barrel items. You are measuring two things at one time in one item. Avoid exceptionally lengthy items. You are not testing their language. Consider reading levels of the target respondent. Include positive and negative worded items. Why is it important this? Because to avoid acquiescence, agreement without protest or acquiescence, and also agreement bias. So we need, out of 7 items, we one. In total, I can't remember the citation, but I'm quite agree on only 10% from the total number of items. It was stated in some of the literature, but I can't recall the name of the author. Please, if you have time, then you can refer back to the psychological testing book. Okay. So steps in developing a questionnaire. First, you have to identify the concept, as I said just now. You know what is conceptual definition, operational definition by the first step. Determine the types, format, and scale of the instrument. Yeah, and start developing the items, sequence the items, write the direction very clear. If you have 5 sections, then if you change the scale, so different instruction needed for each section. Develop a draft instrument and supporting materials and send for the expert review for content validity. Just now, I already told you about the content validity is very, very important. Pilot tests to get the construct validity established and also as reliability, and revise again, and then only go to the field work. Okay, this is the process. Okay, validation. I already introduced about validation actually at the first 2-3 slides. The first 2-3 slides, when I talk about validity, reliability, is about validation. Collecting, analyzing data to assess the accuracy of an instrument. Some students might say, I don't mind adopting people's other people's instrument, but you have to make sure if you adopt, you must also do the content validity, which is expert review, calculate the Kohen Kappa or Fritz Kappa or CVI, okay, both. Whether you self-develop or you adopt and adapt, this process is a must, okay? For construct validity, self-develop, yes, because you are at the beginning of the journey, you are constructing a new instrument. You have to do the construct validity, but for the adopt and adapt is optional. Because normally you adopt, you just amend the word or a very small minor amendment on the existing instrument, okay? And normally you have the theory or the model basically come along with your in your research. So the reliability, whether self-develop or adapt, you must prove this. So meaning the validation process is still on for the adopt and adapt. Yeah, because if you get the content validity index from the past author, that is in that context. Now you are taking other people's instrument, doing it in the different context. So you must have the content validity and reliability prove to the examiners, to the readers, so that they cannot, they have a good reputation on you as a researcher, and your paper or your thesis will be considered having a good quality. Yeah, you should do at least 2 out of 3. And on top of that, I would like to say about contribution. This one, you adopt and adapt, and you have to go on, you have to undergo the whole process of validation, but you still cannot claim that it's yours. This is the sad part of adopting and adapting. Is still, yes, it's still the author's. The intellectual property is the author's, the first, the developer. So if this, then you can call this is a practical contribution. Upon completing your study, you can straight away share with the people, and the people will cite your name because you are the developer of the instrument. Practical contribution from your research, right? Okay, why is it validity and reliability is so important? Because if your instrument is not valid, you are not measuring what suppose you have to measure. And also your measurement scale, your measurement instrument is faulty, not reliable. Okay, when you give to this 0.1 and you give again to 0.2, it proven that the correlation is on the inverse. It's not consistent, some high, some low, and to some people, the instrument is performing well. To some people, even though they are homogeneous people, they are in the same group, but give different scores, different the variance is too big to be understood, then it is not reliable. The implication is on the findings and the generalization that you make. This is very, very critical. When you investigate, when you do research, actually, you want to find the truth. But with this faulty instrument, faulty tools, which is not valid and also not reliable, so your findings and generalization is away from the first intention to do research is to find the truth. That is what my big concern is this. Yeah. Okay, I have two charts to share with you. These are my references, and thank you very much. Contact me personally, and I wish you all the best in your journey. Hopefully, this is my way of helping the students to get the clear picture of what should be done in your instrumentation process, and hopefully everybody will get to the destination the sooner the better. Don't drag your journey, because it's gonna be, it's not a good to bear a long time of agony in completing your study. Okay, all the best. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Thank you, Dr.